Welcome to Colorado Rockies Baseball 2015. And for the third time in the last 6 years, it all begins at Miller Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Spring training now in the rear-view mirror. It's time to tee it off for real. And the special and unique event that is opening day. Welcome to it in calendar year 2015. Sellout crowd at Miller Park, and we are glad as always that you are with us. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Jeff Houston, another year of Colorado Rockies baseball, the 23rd. And coming up later in the week, it'll be the 20th anniversary of Coors Field. I turn first to my longtime partner, Jeff Houston. So much has been made about that dynamic duo, Carlos Gonzalez, obviously, and Troy Tulowitzki, and their health. They've never been healthier than what we saw in March. They look terrific. They
looked outstanding during spring training, and talking to numerous scouts, everybody, they were just raving about these two guys. And we chronicled what the Rockies' record is when they're in the lineup and when they're not, how many games they've missed, all of that. But Troy was moving as well as we've seen him move the last, probably 3 or 4 years during spring training. Good to see making all the plays. Of course, Carlos Gonzalez battling that hand last year and battling the knee, everything, and his swing, that ball is coming off his bat like we know it can from Carlos Gonzalez. It's going to be fun to watch.
You know what was fun to watch this spring? How they pushed each other. You know how close they are, yes. And it was almost a competition who could get to the facility earlier.
That's what great players do. They push each other to get even better than what they are.
Absolutely. Let me turn now to Frage. We'll talk pitching here with my old-time compadre, Kyle Kendrick, one of the guys that the Rockies went out and got in the offseason. Didn't make a great number of moves. Kendrick is used to winning, playing on very good Philadelphia Phillies teams. He's really durable.
Well, I think the big thing people forget about him is he's played in a lot of playoffs and World Series. He's been on those teams. He's been taught by some of the best starting pitchers in all of baseball. And I think the other side of this, he worked 199 innings. Went to the bell 32 times last year. 5 times he's had 30 or more starts at the big league level. He's a guy they can trust on opening day, trust during the regular season. And the one comment he made, and everybody's questioning, why Colorado? He said, I came to win baseball games. That's what I do. That's what I expect to do, is win baseball games.
He's not a guy that dominates you. The ball is in play when Kendrick's on the mound, but he's a guy who has a bulldog mentality when there are guys on base.
Well, what difference does it make how you get an out? I don't care if it's a fly ball, a ground ball, a double play, a strikeout. They're all great. Get outs, and that's all he cares about.
Rockies are ready to go. They open up 2015 against the Brewers in Milwaukee. Come on back to Miller Park with us. Oh, you know they like to tailgate in Wisconsin, and what a special day for Wisconsinites with the University of Wisconsin going for a national championship event. Hoop a little later on. But first, the business of the afternoon, baseball. The Rockies and Brewers as Colorado begins the journey that is their 162-game season of 2015 and hopefully beyond. Well, a moment ago, the outgoing commissioner of Major League Baseball after a 20-plus year tenureship, Bud Selig, will throw out the first pitch, and successfully so, to Mark Attanasio, who is the principal owner of the Milwaukee Brewers. And I think history will shine proudly upon the legacy of Alan Bud Selig. He did a marvelous job, and you're talking about 2 decades now of peace between players and owners. So that is a very, very positive thing. Rockies getting ready to go with their purple jerseys on top. Walt Weiss, Ron Renicky meeting at home plate. Dale Scott and his crew getting together. Walt now in his 3rd year as the manager of the Colorado Rockies. For Renicky, it is 5th season in charge of the Milwaukee Brewers. And the roof is closed. And the reason is it was a beautiful morning, but it was chilly, George. It was in the 30s this morning.
Well, it is. It's a chilly time here. They were calling for snow tomorrow in Milwaukee, so you're better off keeping everything shut, the windows shut, for opening day here in Milwaukee.
Kyle Loesch will go for Milwaukee. Let's take a look at the Rockies' opening day lineup here in 2015.
Charlie Blackmon, center field.
Carlos Gonzalez, right field. Troy Tulowitzki, shortstop.
Justin Morneau, first base.
Nolan Arenado, third base.
Corey Dickerson, left field.
Nick Hundley, catcher. DJ LeMahieu, second base. Kyle Kendrick, pitcher.
And that lineup brought to you by our friends at Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Veteran guide, 36-year-old Kyle Loesch. He's familiar with opening day starts.
Very much so, and he's a guy that had learned an awful lot when he thought he was so hard thrower, and then after the surgery, came back a very accomplished pitcher, went 16-3 with the Cardinals. He is 6-3 lifetime against the Rockies with a .364 run average. His last 7 starts versus the Rockies, he is 5-0. So he's had success against this club, but you'll see how it goes here on opening day. Before the break last year, a lot like their ball club. He was 9-4 prior to the breakthrough. After the break, he struggled, as did his club, 4-5.
Yeah, the Brewers were the talk of the Central for most of the season, but then fell apart in September. Defensively, Chris Davis in left. Carlos Gomez, as good as it gets in center. Ryan Braun, now a right fielder the last couple of years. Aramis Ramirez, it'll be his final season. He's playing third. Gene Segura, Scooter Gennett up the middle. Adam Lind, one of the few changes for this ball club. He comes from Toronto, and one of the premier backstops, two-way backstops in the game, Jonathan Lucroy, is behind the dish.
All-star last year, a guy that can catch, throw, and swing the bat, do a lot of good things for you when he's in your lineup.
The Brewers led the National League Central for 150 days last year, yet did not make the postseason. A late season collapse. We'll document a little bit more later on. We want to make sure our buddy got down to his position. You did, man. You flew down there.
Well,
you all right?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not at elevation. It was a smooth ride, but the concourse is packed.
I just want to remind you, you're on the open side right now with the left-handed bat.
I know.
Charlie Blackmon's duck if you have to.
I should have borrowed Spilly's glove that he had on the pregame set.
That would have been useful.
Yes.
Here we go. Kyle Loesch to Charlie Blackmon, and the season is underway. Inside, ball 1. Charlie, an all-star a year ago. Final numbers, 288, 19 home runs, and 72 driven in. And that's a strike. What a bonus, Frage, to have a guy at the top of your lineup like Carlos Gomez, who can get you 1-0 lead in a hurry.
Well, that's the nice part about it, and he has one near the top, or top 5 of leadoff home runs last year in the big leagues with 19, right behind Carlos Gomez, the center fielder of the Milwaukee Brewers. So you get 2 of the top leadoff men as far as power concerned here in this ballpark today.
And there's that grouping of guys that can hit it out of the ballpark who hit atop the lineup. 2-1 on Charlie. And that's fouled off. A lot of similarities for me between Loesch and Kendrick. Two guys that know each other well. They were teammates in Philadelphia.
Very contact-oriented type guys. I mean, this is what they're going to do. They're not going to try to strike out a bunch of people, although Kyle Loesch has struck out a max of 12 in a ball game, but that only happened one time, over 10 3 times.
4-pitch mix, and that was downstairs, 3-2. Tough pitch to take, Huey.
Well, I'm looking at it from field level. It appeared to cross the knees, but Charlie has a better eye. He's closer. It's one of those ones you don't want to leave in the hands of the umpire too often.
And you can see on the forward strike zone, it was down and in. This ball is lifted to Chris Davis and left. Rockies opened a year ago, as you may recall, in Miami, actually on March 31st. The first time the Rockies had played a regular season game in the month of March. They lost the opener last year, but after that they bounced back nicely and had a terrific April, went 16-12. As Cargo steps into that 2 spot, Huey, Wohlweiss is going to do this quite a bit. Maybe Cargo, some days Troy Tulowitzki. We saw a lot of it in the spring.
Well, their lineup is constructed so you have that option to put a Carlos there that has the power to put the ball out of the ballpark in any swing.
Well, and I looked at it at the lineup. It's all powered lineup. For guys, if they don't hit home runs, they hit doubles, they drive in runs. You don't have a huge base stealer, so you got guys that can do damage early, and that's what you like about the lineup.
You see a lower leg kick with Cargo than you've seen in the past, and that slider or cutter was down and in 2-0. How about Cargo's swing and just his at-bats look terrific, Jeff, during March?
Well, because the leg is healthy. He can stay on his backside, meaning that left leg.
And there's a bullet to left center field. Run, baby, run. And Cargo's going to start his 2015 campaign like the old friend we knew before so many injuries a year ago.
Well, it's good to see the swing because it's a fastball away, and it's not something you'd think. He might get a little over anxious to try to take this ball the other way. A pitch about 6 inches off the plate. Great coverage by Gonzalez to get out and get the extension with that long patented swing, the backspin drive of the baseball into left center field, and then it's just off to the races. I thought maybe he might have had thoughts when that ball stuck underneath the fence when he got about halfway to second.
Hey, we saw during spring training, you never see this, especially in March for a veteran guy. He went first to third on a wild pitch, and he was called out at third. It's a play that Walt would have contested during the regular season because he actually was safe. We had the video replay of it. But just the point, he went 2 bases on a wild pitch.
Remember, he'd been hurt. I'm testing everything. I'm going to turn it loose. If it's going to hurt, it's going to hurt.
Here's Tulo. And the breaking ball's outside and away.
333 average in his career versus Kyle Loesch, 8 for 24.
Both he and Cargo came in with 333 averages against Loesch, both owning a home run in their career. Chance to get a quick start on the Brew Crew. And again, he goes off speed. That one touched the zone. It's 1-1. When you look at the shape, the bodies of Tulowitzki, of Cargo, Morneau, who's on deck, Arenado, you cannot be in better shape than these guys are in.
Now, you've been a superstar player, and then you battle through those injuries, and then you read the papers. I don't care what anybody says. As a player, you read the papers. They're never healthy. They don't play. You know, if they get nicked a little bit, they go sit down. And I think that adds to the fuel. It gives you a bigger chip on the shoulder to come back and perform that all-star level that you have.
1-2 on Troy.
I'm just watching Carlos dance around out at second. That tells me he's also good to go. You're talking about going first to third. Yeah, that's fine. That's spring training. Now he's anticipating balls in the dirt. He's looking. If he's slow, I could maybe steal third base.
And as you know, Huey, you were a base stealer. It's not a bad play here.
No.
If you know you can get there. Jeanette's trying to keep it close at second base. Last year, Tulo hit 21 home runs in the first half. It was the 9th most home runs all time in a first half by a shortstop.
Tried to change his feet in the batter's box with that good hard sinker in at 88. Wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go back to the off-speed pitch here. 2-2 count.
And he did. He went with a changeup, and Tulo covered it. That was well located, Frazier.
That's a very good pitch. This is what this guy does. He makes pitches. He's been around a lot. And he was commented in the morning's paper when he went through the injury of the arm, and it was a kind of a strange deal that once he went through that injury, he had to learn to pitch a different way and how to persevere and make pitches when certain days you just don't feel 100%.
Just underway, 1 out. Cargo after doubling at second, 2-2. And again, he goes with the changeup.
That's why guys like Kyle Loesch are so effective to hitters, because you can't sit on one pitch. He'll throw a changeup and on an 0-2 count, a 2-2. It doesn't matter. He'll go to the slider, to go to the cutter. So the hitter almost has to go up there with not the game plan that you were anticipating maybe with another pitcher. This is more of a just to react.
You hear some people booing because Rob Manfred, who succeeded, his good friend, he tutored under Bud Selig. One of the things he wants to see is a quicker pace. The fans booed when Tulo stepped out. And this ball roped to left, stay fair. It will. Down the line, here comes Cargo. And the Rockies take a 1-0 lead. And if you wanted to script a perfect way for those two guys to embark on this campaign, how about back-to-back doubles?
So you like that? Particularly the at-bat by Tulowitzki for me. He fouled off so many nasty pitches to get to a count where he could handle the baseball. And finally, Kyle Loesch made a mistake with the pitch, and Tulowitzki was able to take that hard sinker. That's a tough pitch, down and in, and rifle it down the left field line for the double, and to score Gonzalez and give the Rockies and Kendrick the very, very quick 1-0 lead. And oh, by the way, you get to face the National League batting champion now, and then you get to face it doesn't get any easier with the lineup.
And a big rip from Morneau as he fouls off the first delivery. So Cargo doubles, and then as George described, a terrific at bat for Tulowitzki, and Troy doubles. 1-0 Rockies. .319 batting average, led the National League last year for Morneau. Gene Segura will grab that. 2 gone. And that'll bring up Arenado. Nolan's coming off a big spring. He led the Rockies in home runs with 5, one of the better numbers in the Cactus League. And Huey, you and I were watching him take BP today, and we've watched him take BP throughout March. And I remarked to Walt Weiss, this kid had 18 home runs last year, so it's not like he didn't have pop, but there's even more than a year ago.
Yeah, he's a year older, a year stronger, and he knows his swing more now. So he can anticipate when a ball's going to come inside and when he can turn on it. I mean, that's the beauty of this game when you continue to grow as a player, and then you take it one step higher each and every year you play.
Well, he grinds out at bats. It's evident he hit 303 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, had 23 RBIs last year, nearly half of what he had on the season with 2 outs. It's the type of player that he is.
The other thing you like about him, a guy who can hit it out of the ballpark, who doesn't strike out much. Last year in 432 at bats, he punched out only 58 times. He has an extremely high ceiling, which sounds funny for a guy that's already accomplished quite a bit in 2 years. Back-to-back Gold Gloves, the 18 home runs we talked about. Hit almost 290 last year.
But he's not satisfied. That's what drives him.
And there's a shot to left center, and the Rockies will take a 2-0 lead. 3 doubles in the first frame. 2-0 Colorado. Always great to be high-fiving this early, huh?
Well, I'm telling you, be excitable in the dugout behind your teammate when they come through in a clutch, as Nolan does here with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. Fastball elevated, coming to the plate. Nolan set and waited and made him pay with that line drive into left center field. Hit very hard. They got by a very good center fielder in Gomez, and now you have Nolan Arenado, who is in scoring position.
And this is the depth of that lineup, because the guy that led the Rockies in home runs last year, though he didn't qualify for a potential batting title, he hit 312, 24 home runs. He didn't even have enough at bats. And he hits in the 6th spot in this opening day lineup for the Rockies, Corey Dickerson.
And he'll get pitched to a little differently now because of the success you've had in the past. So that's where you have to have the ability to make adjustments.
Dreams do come true. God has blessed me, and I'm thankful for every opportunity. A morning tweet from Corey Dickerson. Toyota talk continuing throughout the game this year.
25 total pitches, and a lot of that attributed to, for me, Tulowitzki's at bat, where he was able to foul off so many pitches that allowed to drive this up on Kyle Loesch. A lot of these starters, the first couple of starts, you won't see 100, 115 pitches out of them.
Dickerson out front. It's 1-2. Huey, I know you were shocked to see Dickerson fire at the first delivery of the season, huh?
Yeah, that's so unlike him. We didn't see that very often last year. But he has the hand-eye coordination to go up there and still maybe get fooled, be out on his front foot, and have the drive to hit it into the gap still. I mean, that's what's fun about Corey and his swing. He doesn't get cheated.
Here's the 1-2. And Dickerson drives his ball to deep right field. It's got a chance to fly. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. How about a 4 spot in the first frame? Double, double, double bomb. Gotta love it.
You like extra base hits? You're getting them, huh? How about it? 3 doubles and a 2-run blast from Corey Dickerson, starting off right where he left off a year ago. There's that high late kick. Fastball again elevated. And the bat speed of Corey Dickerson taking that chest-high fastball to right field where Braun had no play. The only play was made if you had a ticket.
Nick Hundley's first Rockies at bat. Longtime San Diego Padre, briefly last year with Baltimore.
Yeah, you wonder if he looked back at DJ and go, this kind of tough act to follow. Why don't you go?
2-0 on Hundley. And Nick is 3 for 10 with 2 home runs lifetime against Loesch. That's why Loesch is falling behind him, Jeff, 3-0.
Scared. I didn't blame him. You see, he's throwing a fastball at 89 miles an hour. He saw it elevated, got hit it out of the ballpark, and now he's over 30 pitches.
That's a great point that George made a moment ago. It is opening day. It's April. Guys don't throw 100 plus. I mean, if you're in your bullpen in the 4th inning.
Well, that's why a lot of teams take 8 relievers to start the year, because you may have one of these type of games.
This ball is well struck, but it's going to be Ryan Braun making the catch. And finally, Milwaukee gets off the field, but not until the Rockies cross home plate 4 times. All the big names involved. Cargo got it going with a double. Tulo brought him home. And then brought to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Let's go places. By Wingstop, get the flavor for your whole crew. Order online at wingstop.com. Get at it. And by Southwest Airlines, book your low fare now at southwest.com. Miller Park just settling in, but the Rockies really settled in the top of the first with 4 runs. And Corey Dickerson, a 2-run shot to highlight the inning. Carlos Gomez will lead things off, 2-time All-Star. Each of the last 2 years, in fact, as we take a look at the Southwest Airlines batting order for Ron Renicky and the Brewers. Jonathan Lucroy will bat second, then Ryan Braun coming off-season right thumb surgery, feeling healthy again. Aramis Ramirez, Adam Lind from Toronto. Chris Davis has popped. Scooter Gennett, Gene Segura, and Kyle Loesch. On the face, Kyle Kendrick, the 30-year-old from Mount Vernon, Washington. Big 3-sport star there up in the Northwest, and the hard sinker's in there for a strike.
Yeah, the only thing you're thinking now, your club just gave you a 4-run lead. Get the ball over the plate, keep the ball on the ground, have a short inning, get that offense back to the dugout. We like it, pounded. Last year with the Philadelphia Phillies, and again, this was a very bad baseball team that he played on. 10-13 overall. He threw 199 innings. He did give up 25 home runs last year, half of those solo shots.
0-2, and he spikes the curveball. Gomez, Huey, it took a while. Remember when he was with the Mets organization, they traded him as part of the Santana deal with Minnesota and then down to Milwaukee. They were waiting for him to blossom because he's one of those guys that had all the tools. It's finally happened here in a Brewer uniform.
Well, and I think he's matured some, too. That has helped his game.
And he went tentative on that changeup, and Kendrick punches out Gomez. We're going to talk a lot about defense this year at the Rockies. They have as good an infield as you will see, not only this year in baseball. You have to go back a ways to see a tighter infield than Arenado, Tulowitzki, LeMahieu, Morneau. Gold Gloves everywhere. Morneau almost won one last year. Huntley, the new catcher, Dickerson, Blackman, and the 2-time Gold Glove winner in right field now, Carlos Gonzalez.
Well, not only that, you have Gonzalez with a Gold Glove in right. You have Charlie Blackman, who was an all-star in center. So it's not so much covered in the infield as it is throughout this lineup.
How about the infield? Gold Glove for Arenado. Tulowitzki didn't qualify. He's won a couple in the past. Other than Andrelton Simmons, he doesn't have competition in my mind among elite shortstops. DJ, well-deserved Gold Glove. First of hopefully many more for him. And the guy with the highest fielding percentage you saw in the graphic in the National League at first base, Justin Morneau.
4 errors for Morneau a year ago. The guy that won it was Adrian Gonzalez. He played 39 more ball games than Morneau, and I'm sure that played a role in it, and where he played, meaning Los Angeles.
0-2 on Lucroy. Set up away, and the fastball just off the plate. 1-2.
That's where it'll help Kendrick to have the defense behind him as a sinker ball pitcher. He didn't have that in Philadelphia. He didn't have the gold gloves at every position.
Had a good one at short, obviously, and Jimmy Rollins. Chase Utley steady, but Ryan Howard at first, known for his bat. This will be a play for DJ, and with a lot of spin on it, Huey. It was necessary to put that knee down, wasn't it?
You can do that as a second baseman. Drop the knee, even if you bobble it, drop it. It's in front of you. You can make that throw over to first base and still get the run.
2 outs, nobody on, and that'll bring up Ryan Braun. A year ago, Braun's numbers were down considerably. Some will point, obviously, to the obvious reasons, but most of it had to do with the fact that he had a right thumb that he battled all year and had off-season surgery on it, and there was nerve damage in there. He takes a strike at the knees, and he's coming off a big spring. He started March 0 for 13, and after that, he hit about 450.
It's more like 675, but it was good. He got hot. He hit the long ball, 3 or 4 home runs at the end of spring training. He drove in runs. He was his whole self. Yeah, it's a scary bat. I mean, he still has that tremendous power. I know that people question that, and they will continue to question it throughout his career.
Here's the 1-1. Good pitch up and in. 1-2, and you got to like what Kendrick's doing early, George. Not only the 4-0 lead, but he's established that he's going to throw strikes.
80% have been strikes so far in the game. You love that. Anything above 70, you're doing backflips. He's at 80.
Sides on here. Sinker away. And that is chopped foul.
That is what you call emergency hack. Hope I hit it in foul territory.
Just see the low setup and target that Nick gives to the pitcher when he wants that sinker down. He's give it to me down below the knees.
And that ball's pulled foul. That was an off-speed pitch. We go sinker away and then change up. Kind of similar to what Braun's good friend Troy Tulowitzki went through in the first inning. Hopefully it doesn't result in the same thing.
No, we don't want that.
With a double.
Right.
Here's the 1-2.
As long as he keeps chasing that sinker down out of the strike zone, it's all good for Kendrick. Just keep throwing it, let him keep chasing.
One of the differences, at least early for me, Huey, the movement on Kendrick's sinker versus the lack of movement, if you will, on the sinker from Kyle Loesch.
It's pronounced at field level, too. I mean, with Kendrick's, it's going down 4 to 6 inches. Loesch is almost on the flat plane.
Change up. Didn't get him to chase.
Well, you watch Kendrick on his follow-through. He'll almost over-exaggerate on his extension to home plate. And that's what creates a lot of that down movement on the fastball. You're not releasing the ball in an upright stance where the ball just tails versus sinking.
He'll tee it up and do it again. May have noticed on of our shots from behind the batter, but it says Joe right behind Dale Scott, the home plate umpire, and that's to honor Joseph Atanasio, who is the father of Mark Atanasio, the principal owner of the Brewers, who passed away this offseason. And the last 10 years he had sung the national anthem on opening day, and so they played last year's rendition for the crowd here before the ball game got going, and they honor him with his name right behind home plate. Here's the 3-2 on the corner, strike three. Battle won by Kendrick, and what a beautiful first inning. That culminates a 10-pitch at bat. 4-0 Colorado. Park, 4-0 Colorado. Rockies fans, you can join the conversation again this season. Send us your thoughts, photos, questions via your favorite social media platform using the hashtag Toyota Talk, and we'll show some of your Toyota Talk comments throughout the ball game. Loesch misses ball one. DJ LeMahieu, Kyle Kendrick, and then Charlie Blackmon. 8-9-1 for the Rockies after producing 4 extra base hits in a 4-run first. And DJ fouls this one off.
Doesn't get any easier at all for Kyle Loesch. DJ has hit .364 in 15 games against Milwaukee.
From the Rockies, a tweet. Well, that was a fun start to the season. Kyle Kendrick's on the mound for the first time in Rockies purple, and he had a 1-2-3 first, including a couple of punch-outs. This is a big, big day for obvious reasons for DJ LeMahieu. It's opening day for DJ, but DJ spent 6 years of his youth growing up in Madison, Wisconsin. He went to LSU. He roots for LSU, but he's a huge Badger fan.
Well, why would he not be? I mean, 6 years here doing what he's doing.
In Madison.
Yeah, so I mean, how much better could it be, right?
Got a lot of family here on Dad's side.
Let's see what happens. It's going to be an interesting ball game.
I played against Walt Weiss when he was playing for the Madison Muskies.
Is that right?
Yeah, in the Midwest League when I was in Burlington, Iowa.
You know, it's interesting because this has always been, I've said this, Jeff, and you played here, it's kind of like a football crowd. I mean, you know how much they love their Packers north of here, and they tailgate like nobody's business, and you know, George. But mixed in with a lot of blue today, you see a lot of Badger red. Bullet to right, and a base hit for DJ. I don't know how productive Wisconsin's going to be tomorrow. I'm just saying.
It's going to be a difficult task.
That's classic DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, and it's just something that he cannot get away from. That's in his DNA to hit that ball to the right side. I know he's worked on pulling it, but still have to go with your bread and butter.
Well, trying to cross up the defense. The corners come flying in, and he pulled it back.
And that's just the freedom that Walt gives the hitters and the pitchers when he's asking for a bunt. If they square around early enough, they see that hard charge, pull it back, slash it, and just hit it on the ground past those guys.
Doesn't hurt you're up 4-0 either.
No.
Allows you a little more freedom than the standard way of baseball.
And that's a perfect bunt. You roll out of March, George, and after all the PFPs and all the bunting you do, you got to get them down early, right?
Well, you'd think so. I mean, that's one thing you got to work at, particularly if you're a National League pitcher. You better work at it in order to help your ball club just to add more to you. And see, that's what you like. You like looking at that dugout and see high fives coming out of everybody in there doing the job. The guys that really appreciate it are guys like Charlie, Gonzalez. More RBI chances for them.
So here's Blackman, who hit a fly ball to left, leading off the game. This is looped out of play. Charlie hit .320 last year with runners in scoring position. He had a pretty good opening day last year in Denver when he went 6 for 6. That's a nice week.
He had a pretty good opening month.
Right, he did.
Hit over 400.
Ribby out there now with one out, and LeMahieu at second. Dale Scott thought he was in the zone. He's the boss, 0-2. Crew today, Dale Scott, Dan Iasanya at first, C.B. Buckner's at second, and Lance Barrett at third. On the edge of the fourth strike zone. Park's always been known as a good offensive park, a fair park, but a good park to hit it. Good background as well. And this is on the ground, a second. It comes up on Jeanette. He's not going to have a play. First and third for Cargo with one out. And this is exactly, Jeff Hewson, what Walt Weiss was talking about with hitting Cargo or Tulo in the two-hole, just as he wanted to do last year with Kadire.
Well, and then the speed of Charlie on this made Scooter bobble it. When he was going after it, I said, this isn't going to turn out well for him just because of his approach. You can see the ball start to hop on him. You know you have a speedy runner hitting from the left side. And now for Kyle Lewis, he's I have first and third Cargo again.
Cargo got it going last inning with a line double to left center field. Cutter inside, ball one. Here's that first inning AB, Jeff.
Well, and I was trying to think, once he hit this ball to left center, how many times we actually saw that last year? Not too many. If he would get to that pitch, then he would roll over and it'd end up being a ground ball 4-3 instead of staying through it.
Yeah, when your base isn't good, the rest isn't going to match up with it. The base, because of the leg problems that he had, finger problems he had. Do I swing at it this way and it's going to hurt? Do I go this way and it's going to hurt? I mean, you just try to go up and play the game.
It's a wonderful observation. And just, you know, Cargo's always had a big swing, but it's so much more under control now. I mean, it looked like he predetermined when he was going to swing at times last year. 2-0. He got the off-speed pitch, and it's 2-1. Here's his buddy on deck. Troy drove him in the first inning with a double. First and third, one out. 2-1 down the line. Oh, what a play. Now they'll come home and out at the plate. Lind robs Cargo of another double and turns it into a double play to get Milwaukee off the field. Los got him popping up. 4-0, middle of 2, Colorado.
He was, the guy back then. So my son, Kyle Jr. I've always wanted a junior because of him. So he's kind of named after Kennedy Jr.
Bottom 2, the Rockies up 4-0 with Kyle Kendrick on the hill for the first time. And guys, he does have a superstition when he pitches, and I saw it happen today in the clubhouse. He has to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Always PBJ. It's got to be wheat bread. It's got to be Jif Creamy, the smooth kind, and it's got to be strawberry jam. And it did happen. I saw it in the clubhouse. So far, so good for the guy that's wearing 38 that Latch wore last year. You remember? And he called up Latch and said, I need that number, and he's got it on the hill.
Is there ever a bad day for PB&J, Mark?
That's a good point, Drew. Not at all. You can't go wrong.
Ramirez takes inside Aramis with a 1-1 count, and this is something now we're going to show you defensively that the Rockies did a lot of in March, didn't do much of it all last year. They're going to do it a fair amount this year, and that's put a shift on, even against a right-handed hitter.
Typically see it more against the lefty, but it happens. And they started to do it the second half of spring training. Almost every batter, just to get the feel of it. How far do you have to go if a ball is hit? And before I run into the guy that is closer to me than he normally is.
Well, if the statistics tell you they're a dead pull hitter, why not do it? I don't care left, right, or whatever. If this is where the ball and the spray charts point everything, then why wouldn't you do it? Pretty much shows that by Ramirez.
And this ball is looped to center field. It'll drop for a base hit.
That's pretty much what Walt talked about, too, in his pregame conference in the dugout. He said, hey, if the numbers really say this is what we need to play defensively, then this is what we're going to do. He more or less kind of seemed like he didn't really want to make a big deal about it. It's just, this is what we're going to do defensively.
Here's Adam Lynn moving over from Toronto. He's never played at Miller Park before. In fact, he made a heck of a play in the last inning to start that 3-2 double play, which you see every day.
Well, I think
Yet he played only one inning at first base last year. He was a DH primarily.
That even makes it a little bit more unusual, doesn't it? Where he played first was here at Miller Park with Toronto.
Yeah, let me correct it. He played one inning of defense here. He did play first base with Toronto last year, but he battled a number of injuries. Had a broken foot at one point. That's a base hit to left.
Well, that's what he's always played really well, and that's hitter.
2 on for Chris Davis. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Davis a year ago hit 22 home runs, drove in 69 in his first full season in the big leagues. Hit 244. Sinker on the outside corner for a strike. Kyle Kendrick typically in his career has been really good getting ground balls. He gives up hits. We discussed this earlier, but there's about a 30-point differential, positive differential, for what guys hit with nobody on versus what guys hit when there's traffic. Averages go way down. Boy, that was dirty. 0-2. And that's what we're talking about. Nobody on. The league hits 285 against him. 252 with runners in scoring position. Slugging percentage drops way off. And 2014 mirrored those career numbers for the most part.
Davis has struggled with men in scoring position. He had just 228 a year ago, so it sets up perfect here. Get the ball on the ground, get your double play.
Good block by Nick Hundley. Quiet with his hands, Jeff.
Well, and not only was it a good block, but did you see how far that ball went away from him? Maybe a couple feet.
Yep,
it didn't bounce off and ricochet 15 or 20 feet away where runners could advance. Just drop it, make yourself big, pick it up.
Yeah, it makes you a lot better receiver when guys throw the ball where you think they're going to throw it. That helps.
1-2. Change the eye level, and it remains 1-2.
You know, you look at Yadier Molina, who they brag so much about. A great receiver, there's no question. Look who he's catching. Makes it a little easier when he calls sinker away and it goes away, and it's not a 1.5-foot miss. This leadership, confidence behind the plate with Nick Hundley, a guy that knows how to call a game, familiar with the National League West.
An athletic catcher, too.
Well, there's that big cutter. We talked about it in September on the way over today, how he started to throw that more and more in the fall and worked on it this spring at 86. It just ran off the plate.
That was his go-to pitch in the month of September. And last year for the Phillies in September, he was 3-2, but he had an ERA in the mid-2s.
He went.
He looked like he locked him up, and he did go around. Good call, Huey. But an even better call by Dan Iasanya.
But that tells you how much he went around, because I'm on the other side and I can still see it.
In other words, you saw he's right here when he came around. You're like, dude, don't say anything. Just go to the dugout.
Just walk back. Don't even argue.
Yeah, don't argue about this one. And you could tell that Nick checked it very quickly. He didn't hesitate at all to get there.
Chris knew also.
Yeah, no disagreement there.
Kendrick, 58, almost 59% ground balls last year, 13 double plays when he was on the mound. Pretty tough out. Jeanette at the plate.
Yeah, he's a tough out, especially against righties.
327 with runners in scoring position a year ago.
He's 5 for 6 lifetime against Kendrick with a home run. Crowd favorite, got a great personality. One of those classic overachievers. Had no business being in pro ball. Had no business playing Division I baseball. And here he is in the big leagues, and he's shining. Ricky Weeks no longer with Milwaukee. He's in Seattle now. They platooned last year. It's going to be Scooter's position every day. Jeanette played his college baseball at Florida State.
Yeah, obviously at that upper echelon of baseball, somebody saw something.
1-1. 2 on and 1 out. He said he's still motivated I've always said this. You guys know this. Give me the guy with the chip on his shoulder. Said he was motivated from the time he first put a little league uniform on. When one of the dads who was coaching him said, "You're too small to play."
Pretty much, you know, there's little things in your career that motivate you. It could be something as you got farther along in your career. You know, hitting coach in A-ball that said something to you, like you'll never get out of A-ball, or a pitching coach that says something to you. I mean, I went back and looked at my reports that are in the Hall of Fame, and I got AA, AAA pitching coaches saying I'd never get down to AA or AAA. That he'll never pitch. You can go ahead and release this guy right now. So, I mean, there are people that are wrong, and it does put a little chip on your shoulder, and then you go out and perform to the highest level. And that's exactly where he's at. There's not another league after this one.
There's some guys that need to get called up to the next league, though.
Well, when that one gets started, let me and Jeff know.
Right.
We'll go manage.
I was going to say, I'm not
a lot of good players.
I'm not playing. I just want to manage one of them. I want to manage one of those teams.
Rockies up 4-0. Almost did more damage in the second. It's not for a great play by Adam Lind to rob Carlos Gonzalez. Oh, that get bat or body? That got body.
Yeah, got his shin.
And now they're loaded up for Gene Segura.
Oh, this thing ricocheted all the way over. He's like, I'm going to jump up. I'm going to be the little engine. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to jog to first. But, man, this really hurt.
Yeah,
whoa.
wow.
Yeah, caught him
that
right
had
under
such
the
a
knee.
loud sound that I thought for a moment when he dropped, and it wasn't close, but then when he jumped to get out of the way, that somehow it hit part of the bat. But obviously the bat was nowhere near that.
Even though you look at Segura and he's hitting 9th or 8th in their lineup, this guy was a National League All-Star. You can't fool around. He's had a lot of personal tragedy over the last year that he's tried to get over to become that player. Last year he was 0 for 10 with the bases loaded.
Last year, and what George is referencing, he lost his 9-month-old son right around the All-Star break. It was a difficult year, to say the least, for Gene Segura, understandably so. 2 strikes on Segura, hitting in front of Kyle Lohse. So this is a big sequence here early in this baseball game.
I think, too, I would like the fans at home. Maybe I'm trying to show to appreciate DJ LeMahieu that much more. Look around at other 8-hole hitters in the game. See how many of them have the RBIs, Jeff, and the production that DJ has hitting in the 8-hole compared to the other guys. Speaking of big moments, just like now for Segura.
It's a hard place to hit in the lineup.
Just missed. At third base, Aramis Ramirez, he had a soft single to center. Adam Lind lined a single to left field. And Scooter Gennett is at first base. He was just hit by a pitch. 1 out. On the ground at third. Can they turn it? You bet. Around the horn, no damage done. 5-4-3. And we've seen Kyle Kendrick at his best with traffic. Rockies score 7 or more. Go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. Troy Tulowitzki to lead it off in the 3rd inning. He had an RBI double in the 1st after a lengthy at bat against Kyle Loesch. Went down and got it. That drove in Carlos Gonzalez, who had doubled a couple of minutes earlier. With George Frazier, Jeff Houston, and Mark Stout, I'm Drew Goodman. Tulowitzki, Morneau, Arenado against Loesch. He's already given up 5 hits.
Who's had nothing but hot streaks, speaking of Loesch, in the month of April. He's 27-16 in his career in the month of April with a 3.80 ERA. Well, the Rockies have kind of changed things there early about their own run average. 24-19 since signing the 3-year contract with the Milwaukee Brewers.
You mentioned this earlier, I believe. His last 7 starts against the Rockies, 5-0. This ball's hammered to right center field by Tulowitzki. It's going to travel off the top of the wall, and Troy's got to turn it on to get into second with a double. And that's a good sign as well, because that ball was played perfectly, Jeff, by Carlos Gomez off the wall, and Troy really had to stride it out.
Well, and when you have to kick it into another gear once you've rounded first, that's when, if there's going to be any problems, that's when it would show up. But no problems for Troy. Hits it off the wall in right center field. Carlos Gomez, as strong an arm as there is out there for the Brewers. He's above average both with his arm and his accuracy. And Troy slid underneath the tag.
Here's Morneau. So 2 doubles today for Tulowitzki. Doubles 206 and 207 in his career. He's 5th all time on the Rockies list, headed of course by Todd Helton at 592. Morneau got jammed his first time up and hit a little floater to short. The Rockies have 6 hits, only 1 single. That was from DJ LeMahieu. Good approach there off speed, trying to hook the baseball by Morneau.
They had a tough time trying to figure out Justin Morneau a year ago. He had 360 with a home run and 8 RBIs in 6 games versus Milwaukee.
Outfield straight up and deep for Morneau. Pretty nice for Justin when he came to the Rockies for a number of reasons. One, he lives in Scottsdale. Made spring training pretty easy.
Yeah, more and more players.
This is poked toward the middle of the diamond, and Segura makes a catch, and Jeanette avoids contact and goes down in 3 somersaults. It's been a tough first ball game for Jeanette. He's been plucked, and he just got knocked around like Dick Butkus hit him.
Yeah, well, I've got it covered right here off the end of the bat. Thought this ball might get an up flight out to center field. Does not. Segura with good range makes the play.
I was watching Scooter the whole time. I thought he caught it. Because I saw his somersault and his roll out there.
You know, the worst part, Jeff, he thought he did too.
He's going to have to watch his uni in the 4th inning. Here's Arenado. He doubled in a run his first time.
Nolan Arenado got exactly what he needed to get his season started right, with Tulo out at second. A line drive double into left field to score Troy Tulowitzki.
That goes through Jonathan Lucroy, and Troy gobbles up 90 more feet.
Well, and again, that was a wild pitch, but not tried to defend it very well by Lucroy the way you normally would see. Backhand out front, off the thumb, and all the way to the screen. Runners on, typically they do not get that opportunity to advance like Troy did.
Great opportunity for the Rockies to get their 5th run. The infield moves in. And Arenado got a pitch up in the zone to fire at. It's 2-1. Lucroy, outstanding receiver, outstanding offensive player. And he had signed I think it was a 5-year, $11 million deal a couple of years ago. He's one of the biggest bargains in baseball now. This ball well hit to left field. Chris Davis going back, look it up, see you later. Home run, Nolan Arenado. Make it 6-0.
What did we talk about in the first inning, Drew? The power of Nolan.
And you know what? We'll ask him later on. I don't think he caught that flush. I mean, he caught it pretty good. I know that sounds silly, but Huey, you're down there.
It didn't come off the bat like a wow home run. Yeah, it was loud. And from that swing, you could see it all come together, though. And Chris Davis in left field, he just jogged back, looked up, and it makes it into the first row of the second deck.
Yeah, I mean, it left the bat, you're thinking, in his swing, but it was crushed.
Dickerson, who left the building in his first at bat.
I just like seeing the smiles in the dugout from these guys.
You know, the only guy smiling right now is those 2 guys in the Brewers bullpen that only throw on the winning side of games.
This ball is roped to right, and Ryan Braun almost had the webbing broke in his glove. I mean, listen, Kyle Loesch right now, think of the last couple of guys he's retired, other than the Morneau flare. Cargo hits a bullet down the right field line that's stolen by Adam Lind, and then that rocket by Dickerson.
The infielders are saying, wait, give me a chance. I'm going to back up a couple steps.
Nick Hundley hit the ball with authority to Braun his first time up. And Hundley with a base hit through the left side. And the natives are getting restless. 8 hits for the Rockies. And we're still in the 3rd. Ron Renicky looking for Rick Kranitz. Who's next?
Come celebrate the 20th anniversary of the first game played at Coors Field, April 26th. The 95 Rockies players will be there making an appearance and also signing autographs. So make sure you get tickets for that ball game on April 26th, versus the world champion San Francisco Giants.
DJ hits it to 3rd, and Jeanette jumps out of the way. Rockies produce 2 more runs. Nolan Arenado drives in Tulowitzki with his first bomb of the year. He had 18 last year. 16 of them came at Coors Field. With every challenged call, the Subaru eyesight review will determine the outcome. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Kyle Kendrick will face Kyle Loesch, and then the top of the order here in the third. Nolan Arenado a moment ago, a 2-run home run to left earlier, 2-run home run to right from Corey Dickerson. Rockies have 8 hits, 6 extra base hits.
And about 12 hit extremely hard.
Yeah, there's a bunch of atom balls too. And that's lined over DJ LeMahieu's head. So the best thing that's happened today for Kyle Loesch is when he's had a bat in his hand. Gomez struck out in the first inning. Carlos, one of the more aggressive hitters in baseball.
And one of the hardest things to do as a starting pitcher, to get jumped out to a 6-0 lead, is not to put it on cruise control. You got to continue to pitch like it's a 1-0 ball game and make pitches, because they do have firepower in their lineup.
Gomez was trying to hit the 6-run home run. Huey, we have not seen one of those in quite some time.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time. So what do? You go with the changeup, feed into that aggressiveness.
Gomez takes a middle of the order cut from the leadoff spot. Two strikes on Carlos.
It looks like a free safety. It doesn't look like a lead up. What you would think of a leadoff hitter.
I don't remember looking at him in a Mets uniform, but he didn't look like that. This is a big kid now. Really matured physically, obviously.
Got him. Off speed again. Gomez has struck out twice against Kyle Kendrick. 4 strikeouts for Kendrick, who's not known for racking up the strikeouts. His career best is 8.
Yeah, but I don't know that we've seen this good of a changeup from Kyle Kendrick to go along with the hard sinker. It's just burying it underneath the right-handed hitter.
Jonathan Lucroy grounded to second his first time. Gonna have to put a chin strap, Huey, on Carlos Gomez's helmet next AB.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since Little League.
First pitch strikes aplenty from Kyle Kendrick. Loesch at first with, speaking of Little League, a Little League lead naturally. 1-1.
Down 6-0. There's really nowhere to go other than back to the dugout.
Well, it helps there. It allows Morneau about another step and a half of range, because he's got a real soft position defensively, not a typical where you'd be holding on a position player. That's in there, 1-2. 11 hitters have come up against Kendrick, and he started 9 of them with a strike. That's where you want to live, that forward strike zone, low and away. Double play ball. Second, the Rockies have turned this afternoon. We turn the page to inning number 4. Colorado 6 and the homestanding Brewers nothing.
the summer kickoff. Like, here it is. It's baseball season. Now it's time for the summer and for baseball.
I like that idea from Charlie Blackmon. I'm all for it. Count me in. Top of the 4th inning, 6-0 Colorado. Charlie Blackmon's beard has a beard from our friend Benjamin Hockman over at the Denver Post. Kendrick got down a sac bunt his first time up, leading off here in the 4th. And a slider for a strike from Loesch. Kendrick trying to return the favor against Loesch. Loesch had a base hit against Kyle last inning. And this ball is lifted to pretty deep left field. He may have done it. He hit it off the top of the wall, and double for Kendrick. I'll do you one better. Kidding me? That's almost his first trot around the bases.
Right, you're almost forced as a manager now to get your bullpen going in some fashion. If you don't allow your #1 guy to sit on the hill and take a beating of 9 hits and 6 runs. And Kendrick gets a fastball up. It's right off the Spring Madness sign. How about that?
Well, what's strange for Brewer fans and even for Rockies fans, because again, the Rockies have been here 3 of the last 6 years opening up, and they saw the same guy every year, Giovanni Gallardo.
Exactly, and he's in Texas now.
Last 5 opening day starts been Gallardo's, and this ball gets away from Lucroy. Kendrick will move up.
And good base running from Kyle Kendrick.
Well, Huey, you know, he's an athlete out there,
well,
and I say that respectfully, and I don't all pitchers are going to do that sort of thing, but Kendrick was a Division I quarterback recruit growing up in the Northwest.
Right, but I was talking about his secondary lead. With the way he got that, he was still moving. He saw the backhand from Lucroy to go down, and once he saw a kick away to his right, he just kept going.
Part of that is, I think Walt said, the preparation they got for this season. And that goes with the pitchers running the bases, being able to do things on the base paths.
Well, if you're going to play in the National League, you better be able to do the little things as a pitcher. It will keep you in the ball game longer.
Nobody out. The infield is more halfway because of Kendrick being at third. Blackmon hit the ball sharply and reached on an error by Scooter Gennett his last time up. Also a fly ball to left. Michael Blazek is in their bullpen, and to your point, Frazier, of a moment ago, I can't imagine that Ron Renicky wants to see Loesch face Cargo, Tulo, and that group again.
Now, Blazek's a young man that has been with a couple of organizations, a hard thrower, mostly worked as reliever, but not in long relief. It's been short.
Two and two on Chuck Nasty. So we hear that tweet on the beard. I think he's trimmed it up. And the first strikeout for Loesch today.
Not opening day. It all starts at Coors Field at 20th and Blake on April the 11th and 12th. Buy your tickets for that weekend series and come see the Cubs and the Rockies at Coors Field. I asked Tavis, our producer, and I couldn't come up with the answer. Doug, and maybe you can. Have we ever opened at home against the Chicago Cubs? I can't ever remember playing them that early.
Well, 7 of the last 8 years, the Rockies have not opened against anybody at home. They've opened on the road.
Okay, how about home opener? You know what I meant.
What was that?
What are you thinking about?
Oh, you're right. You were talking about.
You'll be fine. Maybe you're the one screwing up, not me. Let's look at this again. Imagine that, Huey. 1996, they actually opened against the Chicago Cubs at home.
There you go.
Rich was the losing pitcher. Thanks, Dougie.
0-1, base hit, center field, make it 7-0. Carlos Gonzalez has hit it on the button 3 times this afternoon. Ball gets away for a moment. They're just throwing at Jeanette. His own guys are throwing at Jeanette. See that one, Huey? That hit him in the same spot that Kendrick hit him earlier in the game.
He's even flexing his leg and his knee, but Carlos Gonzalez, folks, is back. I mean, we could put an end to all of it. His leg, is he healthy, whatever, because the ball is just coming off his bat scalding hot.
That will be all for Kyle Lohse. A forgettable opening day for him. 7-0 Rockies. They have 10 hits already. Here, but Cargo's good most days. How about opening day? His first was here at Miller Park in 2010. He went 4 for 5 as the Rockies won 5-3. And if you put together the work today he's done, he's now hitting 500 in openers with a couple of home runs. He had a double in the first, the single a moment ago to drive in a run, and he would have had a double, maybe a triple, had Adam Lind not made a spectacular play in the second inning. So Troy Tulowitzki getting ready to go. Michael Blazek will be the new pitcher, Frage.
Yes, he was. 7 games a year ago with Milwaukee. He came over for who? John Axford in the trade from St. Louis Cardinals. He had pitched between Springfield and Memphis overall for the last 3 to 4 years. He got to St. Louis for 11 games in 2013, Milwaukee for 7. In 2014, the entire year is 37 with 17 starts spent in Nashville, the AAA affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers, and now they are in Colorado Springs.
One out, Tulo, 2 doubles, 2 runs scored, and 1 driven in. And the breaking ball in the dirt. It's 1-0. Seven runs, 10 hits for the Rockies with 1 out in the 4th. Kendrick is allowed no runs on 3 hits. Good pitch, 1-1. This ball ripped to left field, a base hit for Tulo. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's Kyle Lohse or Michael Blazek right now. We've got tacos, nothing like the tacos on opening day, huh? The Rockies have hit that magic number. Don't forget to go to your participating Taco Bell locations tomorrow. Do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special.
Man, the way this offense is running, you're going to see a lot of tacos this year.
With Moss at Taco Bell, you bet. Justin Morneau twice has hit little pop-ups to short.
There's a cross-up.
You think? Lucroy's headed to the mound right now. Like, see that guy out there at second, bud? If I give you second or third sign and a different touch, that's what we need to go to here.
So we worked on that in spring training.
Right.
Gotta love those splits, Huey. 327 at home, 309 on the road to win the batting title.
Mr. Consistency.
And this ball is in the air to deep right field. Braun going back, makes the catch. Cargo will move up 90 feet. As Justin just missed that. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Nolan Arenado, who's had a decent game so far.
You say that so nonchalantly. Well, he's had a pretty decent game. Yeah, oh, that's right. He did hit a home run. Oh, he did hit a double. Yeah, he scored a couple runs.
3
Yeah,
ribbies
just
to
decent
boot.
game. Yeah, nice little easy day today.
You know, it's all well and good when you have a strong March. You have confidence, feel like you're seeing the ball well going into the season, but everything's wiped clean. Some guys like that because maybe they didn't have a real pretty statistical month. In the case of Arenado, he had a great statistical month, and he hasn't left it down in Scottsdale, has he, Jeff?
No, and I always think about the first 100 at bats during the start of the season, how important it is for your confidence. You don't want to get buried too low where you're trying to fight uphill and get that average going. But when you come out of the gate in the first couple games and you're just raking, you have an extra bounce in your step. I mean, not that Nolan needs it, because he always has a bounce in his.
Yeah, he truly loves to play. Here's Eddie Butler, if you missed it. Eddie got a clean bill of health from that man, Keith Duggar on the right. And he will start game 3 here at Miller Park. Oh, 2. And this is poked to shallow center. It'll drop, base hit. And Arenado drives in his 8th run as Cargo scores, and then everybody moves up as the ball was not picked up cleanly in shallow center field. Milwaukee playing like it's February 6th, not April 6th.
Yeah, not a very good reflection of anything. That's a slider down and away. Nolan threw the bat out. It had enough strength and bat speed to get it out of the head of Jeanette, and then it's kind of off to the races then, and they started booting it around everywhere. Nolan paying attention, scooted into second base.
Second error on the Brewers. 2 out there in scoring position for Dickerson with a 2-run home run in the first inside. Let's check our big hit presented by Mako. Turn the car you drive into the car you love. Won't be the last time you see that this year. Led the club with 24 big flies a year ago. And Mako, big hit of the game. A lot of candidates. Called strike. 1-1. 4 in the first. Rockies threatened in the second. 2 in the third. 2 here in the fourth. Second and third with 2 outs. Here's the 2-1. 3-1. Nick Hundley on deck. And this, Huey, I would be shocked if he gets a fastball here.
You're hoping he does.
You're hoping he does.
Because he might hit it out into the bleachers again.
Well, first base is open. I think at this point, Blazek may want to go right on right. He got a fastball.
Well, I was with you, Drew. I didn't think he'd throw one.
And I don't think Corey thought he was going to see one based on that swing. What's that Kavnar tweeting us?
She was in the lunchroom eating with Billy a minute ago. After the hour pregame show. Finally got a little bit of a break in the action. Could get a grab bite to eat and head out and cheer on the Rockies.
3-2. In the air, left center field, well struck, and this is going to avoid Gomez and hop over the wall. 2 more ribbies for Dickerson, who was halfway to third. They're going to have to usher him back, and the Rockies have hit double digits. 10-0 Colorado. Oh, you gotta love it. Talk about coming out of the gate.
I don't know if they have the run rule at this level, but they might want to put it in. 10 after 4.
We're all done.
Yeah, we're done. I don't want to burn up the whole bullpen. Not a bad pitch either. Slider down and in. A good job, Corey Dickerson. Went after that slider, showed his power and bat speed, drove this ball out into left center field, tailing away from Gomez. Not able to make the catch as it bounced into the Brewer bullpen.
Nick Hundley takes a strike. Nick has hit the ball sharply twice, 1 for 2.
Corey Dickerson, we saw that the big swing, the high leg kick. Notice this time, though, he doesn't do the leg kick. He just picks it up and puts his foot right back down into the ground and still hits it off the wall or off the warning track in left center field.
Well, that's impressive, but I think the reason you didn't see the leg kick, Jeff, 2 strikes, 3-2 count, kind of got into that protection mode of I'll keep my hands under control a little bit more, but then it shows you his strength and bat speed to take it off the wall in left center field.
But that's learning what you need to do and how you go about doing it. So he's looking at other guys like maybe a Justin Morneau out there watching his at bat saying, okay, I've got 2 strikes on me now. I can't do that high wild leg kick. I'll just stay grounded and then hit the ball to left center field.
Hundley on the ground to Segura. And the Rockies add on 4 more here in the fourth. They lead Milwaukee 10-0 on opening day. Sports is brought to you by the Ford Fusion. Power you on and good looks too. Ford, go further. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Brewer fans right now already discussing tonight's matchup with Duke for their Wisconsin Badgers. Rockies up 10-0 in Milwaukee as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Kyle Kendrick to face Ryan Braun, who he struck out in the 1st inning looking after a lengthy at bat. Changeup has been outstanding. His sinker has been very good as well. Kendrick's work on the mound has been overshadowed obviously by 13 hits for the Rockies, the 10 runs, 8 of the hits extra base hits. It's just the 32nd time in the history of the game that a team has produced at least 8 extra base hits on opening day. High pop-up, Morneau in foul ground, and he and DJ come together, and it'll be Morneau to make the catch.
Tough to hear when you get over on that first base side with the crowd, particularly here on opening day.
You know, the former Pirate, longtime Brewer, Aramis Ramirez, who announced during spring training that this will be his final season. And he's put together one heck of a career. Rockies employ the shift again. He singled softly to center field his first time up. Ramirez has been a decade-plus middle-of-the-order hitter. He got to the big leagues at a very young age.
He and Adrian Beltre are similar in my mind as they are not the superstars, but within the game they are. I mean,
well, Beltre for me, and I know you agree, Jeff, Beltre's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yes. I'm not saying Aramis is going to the Hall of Fame. I'm saying he might be just a half notch below Beltre, but they're important RBI guys, hitting the middle of the order, playing great defense at third.
Well, to underscore your point, he's hit 285 in his career, but he's hit 369 home runs. And there's nothing wrong with 285 average, by the way. 1,342 RBIs, and he's got 464 doubles. That's quite a career. 0-2 on Aramis.
He just moved up in the box before that pitch was coming. As Kyle was getting into his windup, he moved in the box maybe 4 to 6 inches. He literally changed his foothold and moved up. He was guessing off speed.
He's in the back of the box right now and staying put. And he's got himself another base hit.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand on your True HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and widget and more. You got to tell me what widget is, Drew. Blackout and the other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for more details. What's widget?
You know, in
other words, he doesn't know, right?
A little knick-knack.
In other words, he doesn't know. Okay.
Adam Lind at the plate.
A pitch tracking widget.
I'll know it when I see it. This is going to land in the glove of Cargo in right field. Off the bat, it looked like it may drop. 2 outs. First chance in right field for Cargo, who moved exceptionally well defensively during spring training. Chris Davis with runners at first and second in the second inning struck out. Scooter Gennett was hit by a pitch, so they had the bases loaded. And at that time, it was only 4-0, so it was a chance for Milwaukee to get right back in the game, and Gene Segura ran it into a 5-4-3 double play.
But the changeup got that fastball at 89 miles an hour, just blew right by Davis, because he got him with changeup in a previous at bat. Asked for the changeup again.
And he gets a towering pop-up with the shift on. This is a long run for DJ, and it's going to drop. And that's one of those deals where the shift cost the Rockies, but you play the percentages with one of these deals. So watch this.
Well, look where DJ is. He's all the way on the shortstop side of second base. He takes off running fast as he can. Morneau looks over. Then he backs away from it, thinking that DJ or Cargo were going to get there, and it just dropped between everybody.
Yeah, as it turns out, Jeff, you were an infielder for a long time. It turns out that really Justin had the best opportunity to make that catch.
Yeah, I mean, as a first baseman, you keep expecting the second baseman to call you off. So next time that happens with the shift on, Justin will know, wait a second, he's not going to be there. I've got to go get it.
And again, that's where it's different. You don't see as many shifts against right-handed hitters. Scooter Gennett. And it's 0-1.
Milwaukee's 0 for 2 today with runners in scoring position. Well, with 10 runs on the board, you would suspect this. The Rockies 7 for 14.
One and one.
Thornburg, another right-hander down there in their bullpen. A long man. As you start to work your way down, you're a couple of shots away from your pitcher. You've got to be prepared. At least let your fans know you're trying to get back into the game. If you had the bases loaded, pinch hit somebody, you just never know. If it gets beyond a little farther deficit, plus farther along in the game, you probably don't pinch hit.
One and two on Gennett. Strike three. So Kendrick, undaunted by the pop that falls, strikes out Gennett with runners at first and third. It remains 10-0 as we go to the fifth on opening day at Miller Park. perspective, they're up 10-0, 13 hits, 8 extra base hits, and we are thrilled you're with us. The first of 162 and 150 here on Root Sports with George Frazier, Jeff Hewson, Mark Stout, Jenny, and Spilly, our entire crew. I'm Drew Goodman. As we go to the top of the 5th, DJ LeMahieu steps in. DJ 1 for 2, base hit back in the 2nd inning. And he takes a curveball out of the zone from Michael Blazek. He's in relief of Kyle Loesch, who lasted 3 1/3. Loesch gave up 8 runs, all earned, so it's going to take him a month and a half to lower his ERA significantly.
Well, that's the thing about it now. It's just you go out and you say, well, yeah, go take the hot shower, wash that off. Well, it's going to take a lot of water.
And hit number 14 for the Rockies. DJ singles through the left side. So we've seen one to right, we've seen one to left from LeMahieu as Eric Young greets him. Kendrick, a sac bunt, and he nearly went deep his last time up. Hit one off the top of the left field wall against Loesch. And this one is
smart base running. You know why? He hesitated. He caused Lynn to hesitate on the throw to second base. That's very smart. Little things DJ does. You just don't, you don't really see him show up anywhere. But watch what happens. He takes off hard. He stops. Then the hesitation, double pump. Then the throw back, and Kendrick is safe because he hustled up the line. But very easy in a 10-0 game to jog.
That's just instinct from DJ. Knowing the game. That's right. Give him high fives.
Charlie Blackmon 0 for 3. He and Morneau, the only 2 Rockies in the lineup without a hit. That's subject to change. Charlie, a fly ball to left field, hit a ball sharply in the middle of the diamond that Jeanette got to on the backhand side. Didn't field it cleanly. He was given an error, and then he struck out swinging his last time up. By the way, this is the 3rd time in Rockies history, now 23 seasons, that they've scored 10 or more on opening day. I believe the last time was in 2005 at Petco Park, of all places. That was the series, fellas. Remember, they scored 32 runs. There's a base hit for Charlie. Rockies threw out the old 32 spot in the opening series at Petco in 05.
For Jason Smith having a huge series.
He almost got himself to Cooperstown.
Right.
The first 3 days of the season.
Smith, who's that? Yeah, it lasted about three or 4 weeks that year.
Cargo, a double to left center, a rocket down the first base line that Lynn turned into a double play, and then an RBI single. He scored 2 runs, 2 for 3, 14 for 28 on opening day in his career. And this is going to be a problem, perhaps. Ramirez picks it up. Is going to get him by a step. Second and third, 2 outs for Tulowitzki. Huey, you're watching Cargo jog back. He got him by half a step or so, but it gives me an idea when I was watching him run of how good he feels, because he's running. Ran up the line like he did a few years ago when he was stealing 20-25 bases.
Well, then I also watched how he slowed down, because that's where he got that one little hiccup in spring training when he tried to put on the brakes and stop, but there was no hesitation from Carlos when he did break it down after reaching first.
Troy's 3 for 3, 2 doubles and a single, and he scored 3 times. Boy, Lucroy's not having any fun. There have been 2 wild pitches. That thing almost went to the backstop. And Troy drives this toward Braun in right, and he makes an uncomfortable catch. I don't know if that got caught up in the light coming through the panels.
I think it's going to be fun. You know, it's always nice. No matter what for me, no matter what the occasion is, it's always nice coming back here. It's where I grew up. It's where most of my family still is. So, I didn't grow up watching games in this ballpark. It was County Stadium where I watched, but certainly this does have memories for me, and it is the team that I grew up rooting for, so it would be a lot of fun to walk out of here 3-0 against them.
Well, guys, so far so good for the Rockies' new GM, Jeff Bridich, the Milwaukee native, his first game, and the Rockies are up by a score of 10-0 as we start here in the bottom of the 5th. And if we want to go back 20 years ago when he played baseball and football at Milwaukee Marquette High School, we'll show you that he was a catcher. Wearing number 18, his dad, who's a math teacher at the school to this day, was his coach then. And his dad wore number 9, so because his dad's a math guy and they both went to Harvard, he figured he'd double up and wear number 18. By the way, his favorite Brewer of all time, Paul Molitor, and he said that he met the now Twins manager at the winter meetings this year and was starstruck, even though he's been around the game for more than a decade. Meeting Paul Molitor was a real cool thing for him. And George, one other thing. The word that he used to describe the fact that the Rockies were playing in Milwaukee for the first series as his general managership started was kismet. I know you know what that means.
Yeah, what's that mean?
It's a great show.
Fate, destiny.
I know, karma, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this was all Dale set up. I mean, to think GM, here I am, yeah. Hey, it's got to be a great day for the Bridich family here in Milwaukee. Denver, obviously, but in Milwaukee, where his mom and dad are here, the rest of his family's here, and sitting in a GM box watching the game together with your son, his first as a general manager.
Yeah, special day for Jeff and his wife Sarah, who came in for the opener as well. Outside, ball one. Here's Jeff. And you know what? He's going to be doing a lot of texting today because his club's up 10-0.
He also said he was able to meet Bob Uecker for the first time.
This is Logan Schaefer pinch hitting, and he pops it up. DJ calling for it. And he's got it for out number 2 in the 5th inning. Well, Jeff has put in his time. That's to say the least. It began really in the commissioner's office. After he graduated from Harvard, one of his early jobs was in the commissioner's office. And then he moved out from New York. He was recommended highly by the commissioner's office, and Dan O'Dowd hired him. Manager of minor league operations in 2004, senior director of baseball operations, flying around the country for 6 years, covering the minor leagues. This is in the air toward Dickerson. He's got it. And then the assistant general manager the last several years. Well-deserved place, and Jeff Bridich will do well. 10-0 Rockies. First Bank's free checking at efirstbank.com. A whole lot that's tough to cover in just 3 lines. Dickerson and Arenado each have a home run. Each have driven in 4. Third time on opening day, the Rockies have scored at least 10. And, oh, by the way, Kyle Kendrick making his Rockies debut. A beautiful one thus far. Neil Kotz, the veteran left-hander, is now into the ball game. And we have a change in right field, which surprises me a little bit. Again, coming off off-season surgery, Ryan Braun with that right thumb has left the game in favor of Gerardo Parra. Now, Brewer fans hope it's just because of the score, but Braun was due up next inning. So that's a little odd to get him off his feet on opening day with an at-bat coming. So you wonder if there's some sort of injury attached to him coming out of the lineup. Perhaps, perhaps not. Justin Morneau at the plate. He takes a strike, 1-1.
Just trying to scan the dugout. I don't see Braun over there.
Would you agree, Jeff? It's a little odd.
Well, that's the first thing I looked at. Was it going to be a double switch? Where are they in the lineup? And Kotz they're just in the second place in their lineup, so there's no double switch going on. And this early in the first game, sure, it seems different.
On the ground to second. Neil Kotz was with the Rangers last year. The record not pretty. Nothing for the Rangers was a thing of beauty.
I think the only thing that came out of it for Neil Kotz, he wasn't one of those guys that could play because he made 73 appearances. And with their injuries that they had last year, to have a guy go out and make 73 appearances, one of the few that did.
Been a perfect day for Nolan Arenado. RBI double, 2-run home run, RBI single, and he has scored all 3 times. Here's the home run hack back in the 3rd.
Ball crushed out into left center field. Crushed, I mean, by that second deck. It takes a little bit to get it there, folks.
And I pointed this out at the time. A year ago, Nolan hit 18 home runs. 16 came at Coors Field. So just 2 out on the road, and numero uno this year, obviously, out on the road. Rockies with 15 hits. With Arenado driving in 4 and the man behind him, Corey Dickerson, driving in 4, it's just the 4th and 5th time a Rocky has had 4 more RBIs on opening day. Last time it happened was 1999, Dante Bichette. Low throw. Lynn handles it, 2 outs. Most ribbies on opening day. Vinny Castilla back in '98 drove in 5. Corey's driven in 4, 2 for 3. The one time they got him out, it was a line shot to Braun and right. Troy Rank, who covered the Rockies for many years with the Denver Post. Corey Dickerson, your next National League batting champion. The Rockies had 2 legitimate all-stars, 2 legitimate superstars they want to see play a full slate of games, as does every Rockies fan. And that's Troy Tulowitzki and Carlos Gonzalez, and hopefully the injury gods will finally fall on their side. They deserve it. And the work they've put in trying to stay healthy, surgeries, etc. But you have 2 other guys that could emerge into that rare class of players, and one's playing third base and the guy at the plate is playing left field. Hey, by the way, we just showed a shot of Jorge De La Rosa sitting next to Cargo. Jorge threw a 45 pitch simulated game yesterday along with Tyler Matzik, who was getting in work for his start on Friday in the home opener, and Jorge had a big smile on his face. Looked good, George.
Well, it felt good yesterday. Threw the ball very well. I think that's why you put a smile on. Why wouldn't you smile if you're a starting pitcher on this team and you see 10 and 15 on the board? You got to get pretty excited.
And Jorge will make a start for Albuquerque. That's right, Albuquerque, the Rockies' new AAA affiliate, on April the 9th.
Well, it goes right into when they need the 5th starter again. They need it on April 14th, so it's 5 days ahead. You get your normal rest, hope it all goes cleanly. As you see what the rest of this rotation looks like coming up. Cal Kendrick today, of course, Lyles, Butler, and Matzik.
1 and 2 on Dickerson.
Again with 2 strikes for Corey, spreads out, just thinks, I'm going to use my hands.
That's the approach he had in the 5th inning when he hit that double to left center field. One hop the wall. There were only 3 guys last year in the National League who hit over 300, hit more than 20 home runs. Andrew McCutchen, Buster Posey, and Corey Dickerson.
2 veterans, 2 right-handed hitters, left-handed hitter.
And I think in the case of McCutchen, along with Posey and that man on the right, 3 of the top 5 or 6 players in the game. And you know what? That was bang, bang. Cox kind of went through the motions, and Dickerson busted it up the line.
Well, Corey,
he's looking at Dan Iasani and said, "Are you sure?"
And Corey was motioning to Walt. Check that out.
And you don't come out of the dugout this year if you want a challenge. I don't know.
Close, very, very close.
Apparently Walt will not challenge. First 1-2-3 inning from Milwaukee's side of things. Bottom of the 6th upcoming, 10-0 Colorado. You got to like it. It's the second time, Huey, we've gone with Fallout Boy here in the opener.
You can never go wrong with Fallout Boy.
No. And you can never go wrong when you have a line of 10 runs on 15 hits on opening day. Kendrick. We'll see the first batter line out. Jonathan Lucroy to left. 1 pitch, 1 out. And Gerardo Parra will get his first at bat. This is where Ryan Braun was hitting. Pretty good 4th outfielder, fellas, when Gerardo Parra, who makes $6 million, is wandering off your bench. Very good two-way player. He's a great defender. He's won Gold Gloves in the past, and pretty good offensive player as well.
5 ground ball outs, 6 strikeouts, and now 5 fly ball outs for Kendrick, but mostly the strikeouts and ground outs, which what you're accustomed to seeing, more ground outs than strikeouts. 5 and 6 in that fashion. 73 pitches on the day, 55 for strikes.
It's 18 out of the zone, and he's ahead 0-2. I've been saying that throughout the day. And it's now 17 out of 21 hitters that he has began with a strike. And that was very close to strike 3. 2-2. 2 outs.
Bike to the Game is back every Sunday home game this season, with the first on April the 12th. Get more information at Rockies.com/green.
Ramos Ramirez with a couple of singles in the game. Only one has been hit hard. 2 for 2. 2 outs, nobody on. And that's inside. We were bragging on his career in his last at bat. He's 8th on the all-time home run list by third baseman with 369. Mike Schmidt, 548 on top of that list. Adrian Beltre will go over the 400 home run list at some point this year, probably early on. He's sitting at 395, 5th all time. Recently retired Chipper Jones, 3rd with 468 home runs. And the Nats manager, Matt Williams, 7th on that list with 378 home runs. 1-1 on Ramirez on the ground to Troy, who's playing over in the hole with the shift, and it's a 1-2-3 6th inning for Kyle Kendrick. Boy, has he ever been efficient. 7-pitch inning, 10-0 Rockies. Nick Hundley will lead it off the day after every Rockies victory. Get 40% off your online order at Papa John's. Promo code ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. 10% of net sales will be donated to Children's Hospital, Colorado. Nick Hundley, 1 for 3 this afternoon. Second inning of work for Neil Cox.
Difficult time, both hitter and catcher, at the plate right now as those shadows start to sit through the windows above the first base line and they start to cross over the home plate area. Makes it really, really tough. There's a certain time, game time starts, it affects everything.
Oh, 2. Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate 133 games last year. They used him at first also to keep his bat in the lineup. I think they'd like to catch him a little bit less this year, keep him fresh. But it's hard. You're talking about one of their two best players.
I think it's great to have that plan, but do you think Yadier Molina asked for days off and he's one of the best backstops? I know you have a plan that you're thinking you might give him some time off. But, again, if that's your best player at that best position, you're trying to win, and he's going to play unless he walks in the manager's office and says, I need a day.
Which he's probably not ever going to do.
Then he doesn't get a day. Go play your position. You're an all-star at catcher.
Huey, you started to say.
I was just going to say he's not that big of a guy, though. He's not your prototypical, broad shoulder type of catcher.
DJ with a couple hits, 2 for 3.
But it's a nice target to throw to. As a pitcher, you really like that type of target. At least I did.
He's just more wiry, more athletic than what you see back there.
Not a dissimilar body type to Nick Hundley, who is also a very good athlete. It's not to say other catchers aren't good athletes because they have blockier bodies, but.
No, yeah, you did. I'm teasing him. But you're right. These guys all played football. They're defensive backs or they were wide receivers. And, a little different deal. I'll tell you what, he's come in. The lefty has thrown the ball pretty good.
Yeah, back-to-back strikeouts as he caught Hundley looking and now LeMahieu. And here's Kendrick with 2 outs. 7 in a row after they couldn't get anybody out. 7 in a row retired now by a combination of Blazek and Kotz.
You know what? We're all sitting here talking about the sun coming through and the effects of that on the hitter and the catcher. How about the umpire? You don't think about that part, do you? Yeah, ball looked like it was right there.
That is something we don't often think about. Kendrick 1 for 2 doubled and scored in the 4th. Also a sac bunt. Always a good thing.
Pick it, Huey. Come on, Huey, pick it.
No way. I didn't bring my glove out here. Spilly, where are you? Bring me a glove.
I know. That was a pitcher hit, and you would have said you could have picked it with the bare hand. Right. I know.
Thank you. You said it. I didn't have to.
I know, but you didn't.
Ooh. I was going to say, Jeff, it's always good when the starting pitcher is getting 4 ABs, huh?
Yeah, and going into the 7th inning. I mean, that's fun. This is, if you were Walt Weiss and you were having to script an opening day start for everybody, this would be it. And then off the glove of the shortstop.
Kendrick may get he may bump Lyles to get pinch hitting duties in at some point this year, huh? That'll look pretty good. Off of Segura's glove. 2 hits for Kyle Kendrick.
Hard hit, just hard enough. Had a little bit of backspin to it. And out of the reach of Gene Segura, come up with another base hit.
Sellout crowd of more than 46,000 here at Miller Park. Charlie had a knock his last time up. Also the 3rd largest gathering at Miller Park in its history. It's the in-game box. A whole lot of damage. There's going to be a lot of people that quickly gaze at this box score tomorrow and say, oh, the Rockies were up to their old tricks at Coors Field. They're going to have to look twice. And I know it is only one game in a marathon of 162. But as you were saying, Jeff, what a great way to start for everybody. Some of the new faces in this lineup. But you know what else? For a club that won only 21 times away from home last year and struggled offensively on the road the way they did. Again, it's one game, but it's a whole different feeling to throw out at least 10 here in the opener and bang the baseball the way they have.
It's a different mindset. And you talk about those 20-plus wins out on the road. Think about how many came in the last 3 or 4 months. Not many. When you go out first game and do this.
Now, Neil Kotz I think George was right on it. With the shadows, guys couldn't pick him up. That's 3 guys that got caught looking in the inning. Kendrick with a base hit is left on base. We're in the middle of 7 on opening day in Milwaukee, and we'll stick around as we honor our great nation with this opening day rendition of God Bless America. Enjoy, everybody.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Raffle. It's your chance to win a $2.5 million dream house or $2 million in cash, and also help out a great cause. Visit milehighraffle.com for more information. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Rockies ahead 10-0. Adam Lind will lead it off against Kyle Kendrick, who's allowed just 5 hits. All of them singles. 30-year-old Kyle Kendrick, free agent signee by the Rockies in the winter. That may be the first 2-0 count of the day.
You think about it, he's only throwing 23 balls out of 82 pitches. There hadn't been many. Fun to watch. Just wear out the strike zone. Not overpowering stuff. 88 to 91. Very, very good changeup on the day. Rafael Betancourt is throwing down in the Rockies bullpen. Type of game Walt would like to ease him into if need be. 10-0.
Little low, 3-1. Great stories that emanated from spring training. Well, Raffy threw the baseball, and that's back up the middle. It'll get through. So a hit for Lind, his second of the ball game. Steve Foster, Rockies' new pitching coach. And Rockies have a new bullpen coach, and former Rocky Darren Holmes. Eyeballing Kendrick, I'm sure, very carefully right now. George made a real salient point early on that, you know, starting pitchers the first few weeks of the season aren't going to throw maybe as many bullets even when they're on as they would, say, in June or July.
Nor should they.
Chris Davis at the plate. And this is hit to Morneau. They're going to get one. No return throw. Even that one, Huey, looked like it was tough for Morneau to see because he's standing with the sun, yes, I think, somewhat in his eyes.
Well, and then do you come get it? Or do you stay back and get that extra hop? What do you have to do? Sun's in your eyes. The right-handed hitter. Oh, yeah, I can get there and get the lead runner in Adam Lind.
Scooter Gennett, 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch on the lower leg. Morneau playing behind Chris Davis with the large lead. In the air, well hit to right. Cargo should have room, and he will. 2 outs. Well, the new commissioner, Rob Manfred, announced today that the All-Star Game 2018 has been awarded to the Washington Nationals, everybody's favorite to be the top team in the National League with that loaded pitching staff. So they'll get the All-Star Game in 2018. 2 outs. Gene Segura will come up. Now, Steve Foster, who's named the new pitching coach in the offseason, a lot of work with Kansas City, and he came so highly recommended by a number of people. And unsolicited, I had several people late in spring training and today within the Rockies organization just rave about the work he's done and Darren Holmes with his pitching staff and just cultivating good relationships and how they wanted to map things out with individuals. Chad Bettis being one. They didn't have him get in the game for a while because they changed some of his mechanics. And then when he finally did get in, George, you know how well he threw the baseball.
Yeah, he threw the ball well. Well, I think the big thing is you got to become guys' friends before you start to change things. Instead of saying, well, you're never going to get anybody out unless you do this, this, or this. Segura with a base hit to right. Cargo will field it. But, I mean, that's the whole thing, is gaining trust that it's going to work and getting players to buy into that it's going to work. Chad Bettis was not figuring into anything at the start of spring as far as one of their guys. You know, that was going to be a part of their rotation. So as a result of that, that was made it easier to make those kind of changes.
2 on, 2 outs. Steve Foster and Walt Weiss, they want to get Kendrick through this inning and hand it off him short of the bullpen. Luis Jimenez will be the pinch hitter for Cox. It's one of just 3 new faces on the Milwaukee Brewers 25-man roster. Rockies didn't make a great number of changes either. Cox, Jimenez, 2 of them, and Adam Lind, the first baseman.
And a lot of this was acquired when the Gallardo trade to Texas.
Well, they got a lot of young players back for Gallardo, guys that are in the minor leagues that they
Marco
hope
Estrada. Yeah, we got Adam Lynn back. They didn't make a lot. One of their acquisitions they made, Darnell Coles, who's now the hitting coach for their ball club.
Former teammate of Huey's, right? Huey?
Exactly.
This is popped up on the infield. Troy Tulowitzki territory. And that's all. 2 men left on in the 7th. We move on to inning number 8. Colorado 10, Milwaukee nothing. His afternoon is complete. He worked in great concert with that man, Nick Hundley. What a nice debut for Kyle Kendrick in a Rockies uniform. Colorado ahead 10-0. Time for our CenturyLink link to what's next. Here's April, folks, or at least most of it laid out in front of you. When the Rockies conclude their series here, they'll head home. 3 against the Cubs. The home opener on Friday. You know, Lodo will be raucous for that and all weekend long. Then the Rockies will head west, 3 against the defending world champs, an off day in Los Angeles, and then 3 against the Dodgers and their $269.5 million payroll. And then it's back home. Luis Jimenez stays in the ballgame at third. Aramis Ramirez has come out. Will Smith is now on the hill. And Cargo is going to take a seat the rest of the way. It's an opportunity for Walt Weiss to get in at bat for Drew Stubbs.
A scary moment yesterday. He was hitting off Tyler Matzek. They were trying to do some live PP in here prior to the start on Thursday. He caught one right on the outside of the foot. So anyway, it just obviously healthy and ready to swing it here on opening day. I tell you what, Smith's got a good arm. Lefty running out of the bullpen. Nasty slider combination with a fastball at 92. Could get to 94.
And he's a guy typically from Milwaukee that'll work on the plus side. But because they got just 3 1/3 out of Kyle Loesch today, the Rockies scored 8 runs on 10 hits against Loesch. They've had to utilize a number of pitchers in the bullpen. Blazek and Cox preceded Smith. 1 and 2 on Drew Stubbs. Drew is one of the hitters that was utilized in the simulated game yesterday, thrown by both Matzek and De La Rosa. Started out really well in spring training and then suffered through a very difficult slump the final couple of weeks of March, where he did just what you saw him do there. He swung through a lot of pitches, and Jeff looked very tentative.
Well, it was in between everything. He was late on the fastballs, early on the curveball. When you're in a slump, then you'll go up there, you'll guess, okay, I'm going to get a first pitch fastball, and it's off speed, and then you flail at it, weak ground ball, or you strike out. It's just that cycle that you can't get out of. But all it takes is a bloop, a little nubber for an infield hit, and you're going, oh, I can hit again.
Yeah, I really wouldn't know how that worked, the little blooper. Yeah. I know what it was like to give him up and go, I just slump busted him right out of it, whatever he was doing.
Yeah. Troy's had a huge opener. Behind 0-2 here. Fouls off the 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Couple doubles, a single, ribby, 3 runs scored. The only time they got him out, hit a line drive to right. Nice for Wall to be able to get Cargo a couple innings off their feet. We've talked about this in the past, Jeffrey. So what's 2 innings? Really, a guy's been out there for 2.5 hours to make that big a difference. It all adds up, the wear and tear, and trying to keep the legs spry. There's Cargo. He's just fine, obviously. And occasionally you do the same thing. He may get Descalso in after this AB for Tulowitzki. He may run. With the 10-0 lead, he may run Descalso out there or get Rafael Inoue into a ball game.
Well, a couple things is your off day's on Thursday, so if you don't do that, then these guys are going to play 3 straight 9-inning games, which they haven't done at all this year. They didn't do it during spring training. So now the first time is these 3 games. If you can get them a couple innings, that's great.
Let me ask you too, Jeff, because you worked in a utility role at times, it makes it a little easier to get those guys in a game too.
Yes, that's the hardest thing I believe for a manager is to get the extra guys enough innings early in the season, because you do it in spring training. You play every day if you're a utility guy trying to make the club.
Sure.
But then you go into the season and with some off days and maybe a rain out here, and you don't want those guys to sit for a week or only get 2 at bats.
Hey, get to the ballpark early. Saturday, April 11th is the first 20,000 that will receive the monthly wall calendars, all courtesy of Drew, Root Sports. Looking forward to it. Cargo sent this one in. Nice look, wasn't it?
That's fouled off.
I'm not laughing because mine doesn't look much better.
Throw that up there again. That was last week.
Yeah, I'm not going to laugh at all.
That is.
I just like the way they recreated it.
They did. That's awesome. This ball's in the air to Chris Davis in left. He's got it. And it's a 1-2-3. 8th inning for Will Smith. Rockies 10, Brewers 0.
I wanted to brag a little bit about our broadcast team of ex-ball players and their connections to the Brewers. You probably don't know this, but Ryan Spilborghs has the most hits against a non-NL West team against Milwaukee in his career with 35. That's like 12% of his hits. George, you were drafted by the Brewers and then traded to the Cardinals, but in the end, in your career, you pitched more innings against Milwaukee than any other club.
Really?
44.1. You were 1-0 with 4 saves. And then there's Huey, who actually played for the Brewers and wore number 15 because he thought he was Cecil Cooper and was going to slug it out playing middle infield. No, Huey actually said he had 15 in Montreal, and then he was traded actually by the Rockies, right,
Yes,
Jeff?
yes.
To the Brewers and got 15 and spent a good part of a year here.
I was happy with whatever number they gave me.
Mark, I was curious, when Huey made his Milwaukee debut, what was the weather like that day?
The only thing I can tell you about Huey, this is his 30th season in the big leagues since he came up through broadcasting and everything. 25 years ago this week, it was opening day, your first opening day, and Nolan Ryan went 5 innings when you were with the Rangers. You remember that? That was your first actual opening day.
Right, and what a treat that was. And every player will tell you, I remember my first opening day because there's nothing like it. And Willie's right, it should be a national holiday.
But County Stadium was probably freezing when he was there.
Oh, my goodness. Right. Yeah, County Stadium. Thank goodness for this roof here.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
come on. It'd be great.
George.
You know what? If they didn't have a roof, you know what? Neither of these teams would be playing in Milwaukee today. They both opened on the road somewhere else.
Well, so good to see number 63 out on the hill, who almost as many years in the big leagues as George and Huey.
See, I don't think he'd appreciate this. This is my 40th. Well, more than that. I don't know if he'd appreciate that too much.
No, he appreciates being in uniform and having an opportunity to continue what has been a terrific career.
I go back to Philadelphia, unfortunately, on August 22nd, when he threw this pitch, and I was thinking, no, it's not good.
Yeah, he knew it too.
Yeah, you knew. I mean, hey, pitchers know that. Like a sprinter pulling a hamstring, you know something isn't right now.
But he was terrific during spring training, and last year he pitched for a while with Grand Junction. At the very end, went to Colorado Springs.
That's it's a long, lonely road when you're coming back from rehab. It's a long ways from a big league locker room. You don't know if you'll ever get there or not.
Carlos Gomez fouls that off. I like what he said. We ran it during the pregame show, the soundbite, and he said, you know, I don't get back here without so much support and help from my family, from friends, not to mention the Rockies and the medical staff. But he deserves a great deal of credit. And I remember having a conversation in the parking lot a couple days after he left the game, and they came to the conclusion after the MRI that he'd torn his UCL, the ulnar collateral ligament, and he said, I talked to my family, he said, I'm going to try to come back. And when he sets his mind to something, and you guys have been around a lot of driven people in this game, you say, well, I don't doubt it.
Well, the big thing about it is this: if you don't have the want to, you're not going to. You know, when I got released, I had other teams call me. I was ready to go home. I was tired of playing. My body was tired. I was tired. I just went home. And I think it kind of ended the way I wanted it to end, because I had 3 or 4 other teams call me. And hey, I don't want to do it anymore. He didn't have that choice. An injury said it was time to go home. He didn't get to quit on his own terms. So I think that played a role in the motivation. I don't want to be the last pitch I threw at a major league level or in baseball walking off a mound with a hurt elbow.
The Rockies tweet on our Toyota Talk. Betancourt is on to pitch the 8th. Great. Count the letters to see Raffy back on the mound in Rockies purple. How about the debut for Kyle Kendrick? 7 shutout innings, 7 hits, didn't walk anybody, struck out 6, 93 pitches, 67 in the strike zone. This is playable. DJ makes the catch, and as we suspected, Troy's come out of the ball game after hitting, and it is the debut of the former Cardinal Daniel Descalso. Played throughout the infield. He's at shortstop for Troy. He'll be the Rockies' utility guy, but he's more than that, Huey. I mean, he's a guy that taken a lot of big at-bats in the postseason. He's a big-time leader as well.
Well, and when you have a younger utility guy on the bench and a Rafi Anoa, to have him mentor him as well, that helps. And Daniel can play any position you need him to. He even has one appearance in the big leagues as a pitcher. You don't want to see that, but he would be your emergency guy.
As we showed you, Stubbs now in center field, and Charlie Blackmon moves over to center. Drew's got to retrieve a baseball. If that came out of the bullpen, that's not good.
They're throwing right dirt. It was their bullpen.
Used to be the old line when that happened, and the ball would come rolling down behind home plate. Yep, he's ready.
0-1 on Lucroy. Change up.
Well, take a look at Descalso and how many positions this guy's played at the major league level. You can see 200 at third, 114 at short. He's pinch hit, he's pinch ran, he's pitched, he's done a little bit of everything, but squat behind the plate. And I will highly recommend to you, Daniel, don't go do that.
No.
Huey, did you ever get on the mound?
No, the pitcher and catcher are the only two positions I did not start at in the big leagues.
Did you tell me there was a chance in one game?
Yes.
Swing and a miss. Bettencourt punches out Lucroy. I mean, did you actually go down to the pen?
I was down in the pen. I was with the Orioles. We were playing the Rangers. I went down in the pen to get loose, and I had mixed emotions. I was excited that maybe I'd get the chance to go in, but also nervous, like I don't want to go in.
Now help me out. I know you didn't pitch in junior college, and you didn't pitch at Wyoming. Did you even pitch in high school?
No.
I didn't think you did.
I didn't. I always played short or second. I never pitched. The last time I had pitched was in Little League, so that's why I was so nervous. I was like, maybe no, not really. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, the last time you pitched, you were wearing the same uni that Cargo had on a few moments ago that we showed, right?
Just about. That was, I was playing for the Sedona Lions Little League at that time, not the same team.
Yeah, I thought you were playing for the Sunoco station on the corner in Sedona. Change-ups in there, strike one on Gerardo Parra. Came into the ball game a couple innings ago. There's another strike for Ryan Braun. We still haven't gotten an update, Frage, on why Braun left when he did. Hopefully, from the Brewers' perspective, it's not for an injury.
It was blowout. It was 10-0. Take some time, head to the dugout, make some changes. Now, Bettencourt's fastball is 87 to 90 on the board here today, but it's been the pinpoint control throughout his career that has given him the ability to have success. And work ahead with two pitches, fastball, cutter.
One-two on Parra. And he's got him. Two punch outs and a 1-2-3 return for Rafael Bettencourt. Well done, Rafi. Rockies lead at 10-0. Rockies.com. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. Milwaukee, Wisconsin is where the journey for 2015 has begun, and the Rockies got to like what they've seen thus far. 10-0 they lead as we check in with Mark Stout for a Toyota post-game preview. Mark?
All right, this is what we have coming up after this first game. It's Tulo. Holy Noli. And it's an opening yay all across the board for the Rockies here today. So Jenny and Spilly will take that and run with it. Right, Huey?
Yeah, that was good, Mark. I like that.
Got a little chuckle out of Huey, Mark.
Opening yay.
I got that. Okay, you don't need to repeat it.
You're making Huey nervous standing
He's right behind me. It's like I can feel him on my neck. It's just, yeah.
He brushed his teeth
walking
this morning.
away. You're all right.
All right, here in the top of the ninth inning, Nolan Arenado is going to lead it off, and hard-throwing Jeremy Jeffress is on the hill. And Martin Maldonado is behind the plate now for Milwaukee. So a new battery. There's one of the top backup catchers in Major League Baseball. Maldonado's a good player. This afternoon's game changer brought to you by T-Mobile. Nolan Arenado broke it wide open with this two-run shot in the left field to the second deck. That's our T-Mobile game changer. Jeffress last year got 29 ball games. Almost a punch out per inning pitch. He throws very hard. From that three-quarter delivery, Huey, that induces movement. They dropped him down a little bit. He was more over the top, but flat with the fastball. And now that he's dropped down, see a little more movement.
Yeah, the movement is what affects the hitters the most. It doesn't matter if you throw 95, 97 anymore. If it's straight, guys will square it up.
Three balls and a strike on Arenado. 3 for 4. And that's ball 4. Who Wants Tacos fans, follow @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more, as they have done today. And a reminder to go to your Colorado Taco Bell locales tomorrow. Do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Corey Dickerson 2 for 4, including a 2-run home run and a 2-run double. 4 ribbies for Dickerson. 10 runs, 16 hits for the Rockies. 8 extra base hits, and normally Arenado would move up. It was a courtesy, if you will, that he did not.
Near capacity crowd here, and all of a sudden not quite the same thing going on. They've all headed to the parking lot, Drew.
The time they showed the most emotion today was when they showed the Wisconsin basketball highlights.
I was thinking more in warm-ups.
Well, you know, looking around now, this was the 3rd largest crowd ever, and they've gone to prepare. They're tailgating again, preparing for Wisconsin.
A double tailgate day.
Yeah, a double tailgate day.
They're all out in the parking lot hanging. It's something you start doing in Denver. Maybe we'll start tailgating, Drew. Can you do it? I don't know if you can do it, can you?
Sure, tailgate, can't you?
Start that at Coors Field.
Huey, turn around and ask Mark, because he knows of such things.
Are you saying he's in the parking lot partying a lot?
No, I'm saying
there's the
Mark
tailgate. Yeah, here, right here at Miller Park. It's if you don't do that, you don't get in.
I want to know if you can tailgate at Coors Field. No. Mark says no.
Yeah, Doug's saying no.
Oh, okay.
That would be 2 guys that would know.
Well, then
maybe you can't.
come inside the building.
How about front
great
gate?
Place to eat.
You can't tailgate. How about front gate?
Get there early. And
But you can bar hop at Coors Field, which you can't do at many parks like this one.
that's true as well.
And you would also know about that.
I would. I had a girl here today tell me that I need to go to McBob's tonight to watch the game. Great Irish bar.
That's going to sneak past Adam Lynn. Should be a hit. Let's see. Dickerson goes first to third.
And a hit for Hunter.
17 hits. 2 hits for Nick in his Rockies debut. Rafael Noah has a bat. He's in the on-deck circle. No, excuse me. Is that Willeen? That's Willeen down there now. Yeah, Willeen Rosario, not Noah. DJ's 2 for 4.
Rockies today 7 for 16 with runners in scoring position. They've cleaned it up pretty well. They've only left 6 on base all day. If you got on, good chance you're circling.
This is to second, and DJ trying to get there in time. Out at first. Took the ribby away from him. So we'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning with the Rockies ahead 10-0 on this opening day. Billboards are diligently preparing. Over here, Spilly, right? No, turn, no, across, this way, Spilly, no, look, right there, wave. There you go.
Hi, I'm waving back, Spilly. You're not waving at me. Quit waving at me, Spilly. I'm waving to you. Come on.
So a post-game show coming your way after 3 more outs, and Christian Friedrich will be asked to get those 3 outs. Rockies have made a couple more changes on the corners in the infield. You look at Christian. Rosario, Willeen now at first base, and Rafael Noah is at third base.
It did just turn into a spring game. Bam. Right?
Well, just a continuation, right?
That's right.
This fits him well, George, the bullpen, doesn't it?
Well, it's all about mental attitude. He had 3 starts, didn't go well, came out of the bullpen, went very well. 27 strikeouts. Just kind of go out there for that inning and just air it out and see what you can do with it. He'll be a 90 to 94 mile an hour guy out of the bullpen. To go along with a good hard slider and change up curveball. Walt won't be afraid to give him a little length if he needs it. 2 innings. Will not be a rarity to see him out there for 3 when they have Bergman that could be the long guy.
Ball and a strike on Martin Maldonado. And a ground ball to Inoue. You can go say it, Huey.
Always happens. Come in the game for defense. Ball's going to find you the first 2 guys.
That's right. 1 out. And that'll bring up Adam Lind. Friedrich working out of the pen last year, fashioned a 1.64 ERA. In fact, the league was 4 for 36 against him working out of the bullpen. Former #1 pick out of Eastern Kentucky. He's a Midwestern guy, Chicago guy. He's the 1-1 from Christian.
Well, I'm sure Dad's here. A few other people here for opening day for Christian, his first in a Rockies uniform.
About a 90-minute drive or so.
If that.
Good pitch, 2-2. We did it one year. We had remember that? Here we had an off day.
Yes. I just remember I'll never let Drew drive anywhere again. And I'm sure I did not allow you to drive to Chicago.
Comebacker and Descalso not going to have a play. DJ had an opportunity. You know what? That was an equal opportunity ground ball. The only guy who couldn't partake was Inoue. Be an infield hit.
That was off Christian. I'm not sure if it was his glove or his foot.
You got shadows, everything else. You get a little bit of surprise here. Look at him. It's like, oh, that ball got me. It went right underneath the glove. It took also under his glove, and DJ's like, hey, I might still get him.
And it actually surprised Rosario because they go on. It was almost
that would have been
a 1-6-4-3.
Yes.
See those every day.
Yeah. Just for 1 out.
Chris Davis takes low.
To get back to Christian Friedrich for a moment, his mom, I saw her this morning in the lobby of the hotel. They're going to drive up and back all 3 days because they live, as you were mentioning, just down the road.
And this is in the air, right center field. Charlie will get there. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Scooter Gennett. 2 outs in the 9th inning. The Rockies leading 10-0. Swinging strike 1. And now it's 0-2 on Gennett. Checks the integrity of the bat. He's going to go sit in the cold tub. Think Fresh, huh?
It's been interesting to see how beat up he is.
He got hit earlier in the ball game.
Thought he caught a fly ball he didn't catch, but dove for it.
And tumbled 6 times. Looked like
Then his teammates started,
Mary Lou Retton out there.
His teammates started throwing at him in about the 5th or 6th inning. That'll end it.
That'll end it. A strikeout for Friedrich. What a debut in 2015 for the Colorado Rockies. Couldn't have scripted it any better. 10-0 victory for the Rockies on this opening day 2015. And it's just the second opening day shutout in Rockies history. Kyle Kendrick, in his Rockies debut, gets the victory, going 7 shutout innings. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game is the work of Kyle Kendrick. You want to talk about efficient. He threw 93 pitches, 67 were strikes, and he started out with a first pitch strike to about 90% of the Milwaukee hitters. He was in complete control throughout.